morning to you, to every one of you watching from wherever you're watching from. It's really another sad day, given the developments that we have been seeing in Benue State. Benue State's killings have been on the horizon. It's been trending on social media lately, and quite frankly, it's been painful. It's um, it's heart wrenching, and it's something that I felt that we need to put our hands together to come together to solve this problem. I believe that there isn't any problem, especially as it concerns security, that cannot be surmounted. And much more than that, I also feel that Benue State killings are not necessarily a breakdown of law and order or a breakdown of security, you know, issues. I think that it's an orchestrated, planned move to do something sinister. You may say, oh, well, we've seen this scale of killings before, and it happens that it's just a breakdown of law and order. But trust me, this is totally different. I don't understand how daily, daily, these coordinated killings continue every day. And yet, security agencies have been unable to quell it. And then you even ask yourself, are these people better equipped than the security agencies? Are these people better equipped than our our security people? Why is it that our security agencies haven't been able to do the needful? Why have they refused to ambush or to kill some of these terrorists? Because as it stands right now, what is happening is terrorism. There's no gainsaying it. There's no, it's farmers, at least we have passed that farmers headers clash conversation. So anybody who is having in the back of their mind a farmers headers clash, or it's a clash between two communities, I think we have passed that for now. So it's important that we put this in perspective, because if you don't put it in perspective, it will be difficult for anyone to be clear as to what exactly they are trying to do. So I'm just going to run up to the updates, several updates that I'm getting from Benue State. I haven't heard that there was also another killing that involved 59 persons in the last 12 hours, which the governor also confirmed. And the killings have been brazen. I saw a video of people who were burnt in their own sleep. That is how horrific these killings are. This is not a community clash. It is not a family clash. It is not people meeting people. It is not a clash between two groups, the Tiv or the Jukuns, or it's not. This is a proper orchestrated, planned attack on a people with a view to annihilating them. This is what it is. There's no need to, gainsay it or try to point, parry it, or maybe try to color it so that it doesn't sound like it is what it is. And if you don't call it that, then we wouldn't actually have to do any good to anyone. It is just so sad that this is happening right in our own eyes. It is so sad that this is happening, and I dare say, I want anybody to either corroborate or even even counter my opinion. Okay, I need anyone to counter my opinion. What is happening in Benue State is not farmers headers clash. It is not farmers header slash. And when two persons are fighting, when two groups are fighting, for instance, I mean, you get casualties from both sides, right? Casualties should appear on both sides. Where is the casualty from the other side? If at all it is farmers header slash. And then previously we used to see when people come up and say, oh, the reason why this is happening is because, these people rustled my cow. This person's, ate my crops. This one, it was out of nowhere, just nowhere. People stood up, planned to attack a certain village, and they overrun the village. It is saddening. It is mind blowing. I haven't been able to sleep seeing those videos, and I can imagine. I can't imagine. I mean, God forbid, that could have been anybody's community. That could have been anybody's community. People got burnt in their own sleep. While they are sleeping, people burn them. Like you set fire to people's houses. You coming in the middle of the night, people were in their homes, and then you set fire on them, and then they burn to ashes. So that what will happen? So that what will happen? If it is not land grabbing, even if it is not people who have decided to make sure that a certain ethnic group is wiped out, somebody should tell me what it is. Somebody should tell me what that is. It is really sad. It's really sad. Anyways, there's a development on several fronts. I'm going to give you updates on several fronts as to what has been going on in the last few days. The Zone A People's Assembly, ZAPA, has called on Benue State Governor Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia to declare a state of emergency on security following the resurgence of deadly attacks and mass displacements across several communities. Speaking at a press conference on Sunday in Makati, ZAPA President Mr. Fanen Mondo decried what he described as a wave of brutal, coordinated assaults by armed herders, some of whom he alleged are foreign mercenaries, in areas including Chito Ukum, Tordonga, Kasina Ala, Turan Kwande, Ondoana, Gwe West, and Yelwata, Guma, Apa, and Agatu. Mondo urged Governor Elia to not only declare the emergency, but also personally lead the security response and openly engage the federal government on worsening situation. He says, quote, in all these places, what connects them is not just the bloodshed and destruction. It is the silence from those in position of power who should act and speak. He condemned what he described as political silence and inaction from state leaders, asserting that failure to speak or act amounts to complicity. This silence is not neutrality, it is complicity, and the people of Benue see it for what it is, Mondo stated. They further called on President Bola Tinubu to remember the support he received from the people of Benue during the 2023 elections and to urgently intervene by deploying military forces and delivering emergency humanitarian aid to affected communities. We don't need a silent governor. We need a field commander who will defend our ancestral lands, Mondo concluded. I so much hate it when people talk of being neutral, when there's apparent evil. You see evil in front of you. You see evil coming at you and say, oh, let's not do it. Let's not go frontal. Let's dodge it. Let's dodge it. Just like what Supreme Court did. I don't know if you have been following that story of Sunday, who Supreme Court had sentenced to death because a header killed him attacked him in his own farm, and he was able to overpower the header and killed him. The Supreme Court said that the Sunday guy in his farm, as soon as he overpowered the man, the header, that he would have run away. That is what Supreme Court of Nigeria, this is not something that I concocted, this is something that happened just a few months ago in this country. So where is the principle of self-defense in an apparent evil act committed against you? Where is it? A Supreme Court of this country says that a herder who attacked a farmer in his farm, the farmer was able to overpower him, get whatever it is that he was using and use that to kill him. The Supreme Court said that as soon as he overpowered him, he would have run away. He would have left him. That is what the Supreme Court of this land said. So when people are faced with these types of things and they want to take action, it becomes a problem. But it is not a problem. As it stands now, the herders are killing farmers, are overrunning communities, and it's making headlines, flashy headlines. And they say, oh, sorry, oh, sorry, oh, so as soon as the community decides to carry arms, to want to attack these people, that is where you will see troops. That you see all security agents from nowhere, overrunning the community. And sometimes, to some extent, they ask the security guys, they ask the community to come and bring their arms, whatever arms that they have, they should submit it, effectively allowing the enemies to attack. And I keep saying this thing: if you know, as the attacker, if you know that I have a gun, I have what can kill you, before you attack me, you think twice. You say, no, this thing I want to do, let me think through it first. It is so sad. And then we have a governor who, I don't know if he likes the kinds of thing that is playing out. I don't know if he likes it, if he's enjoying it. What concrete step has Governor Aliyah taken to forestall the lives of his people in Benue State? Can somebody tell me? You are the answering governor, Pastor Governor Aliyah. What concrete steps have you taken beyond what federal government is doing or can do or has done or will do? What concrete steps has Governor Aliyah, can Governor Aliyah just list the things he has done in terms of engaging with the police, in terms of engaging with army formation in that state, on how to forestall security of lives, forestall the killings that has been going on in his state? What can somebody tell me what he has done? Clearly, what he has done is not working. It's not working. And this story I just read now about the silence of the people in authority corroborates my story of yesterday, when I was telling you that sometimes these attacks are orchestrated by government officials. There's no way to talk about it. What's with the silence? Why is the hierarchy in government silent about this matter? Why? If it is not orchestrated, if it is not somebody in government that is moving these things, come on. Let's go to the other story about what is going on in Benue State. This is really, really sad. The Nigerian military has deployed aerial surveillance across Makurdi and its environs following the deadly attacks on Yelwata and Daudu communities in Guma local government areas of Benue State on Saturday. Also, police in the state dispersed protesters on Sunday using tear gas. No fewer than 100 persons were feared killed and many others injured when terrorists invaded the communities using commercial buses. Since Sunday morning, low-flying military aircraft have been observed hovering over Makurdi as well as parts of neighboring Guma and Gwe West local government area. A military officer who spoke on condition of anonymity, as he was not authorized to comment publicly, said the aerial surveillance was part of a strategy to monitor developments in the area. It says, quote, the air surveillance is to monitor the situation of things around Makurdi and environs so we will know how to tackle it swiftly. The residents should not panic. The military is on top of the situation, the source said. Meanwhile, police in the states dispersed protesters on Sunday using tear gas after they refused to allow the Deputy Governor Samode and the Commissioner of Police Emenari Ifeanyi to address them. The demonstrators had earlier gathered peacefully at the Wurukum roundabout in Makurdi, carrying leaves and calling on the federal government to protect citizens across the country. Some protesters, including architect Abrahams Ikwan and Gideon Iom, decried the frequent attacks in the state, accusing authorities of failing to protect the lives of ordinary people. Speaking to journalists later, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Emenari Ifeanyi, disclosed that the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, had assumed control of security operations in Benue. The IG has taken over the security of Benue State as I speak now. The IG has already sent special forces who are already on ground and more are coming. All the special forces are intelligence-based. They will go no matter where the bandits are and get them, Ifeanyi said. He noted that some units had arrived in Makurdi the previous night, while earlier deployed forces had been stationed in Naka, Apa, Agatu, Daudu, and Yelwata. We are in control of the situation, so I'm assuring all citizens of the state that we are in control. All the security agencies are with us on this. We have already made some arrests. The commissioner added that Governor Hyacinth Alia had provided all necessary logistical support to aid security operations. He explained that Saturday's attack in Yelwata may have been opportunistic, as a large number of officers had earlier been deployed to other hotspots. Ifeanyi said, what you see happening in Yelwata yesterday is because we have taken over Apa, we're west, and are moving seriously in Agatu. They just want to do something to show that they are in control, while they are not and will never be. Whatever is paining you is paining us more. We're here to protect lives and property. We have security everywhere now, even in Yelwata. There are tactical teams in the bush, even before the attack. He urged residents to allow the special forces to work without hindrance. Give the special forces and tactical teams room to work. If you prolong your stay here, you are giving the enemies more time to plan. We have intelligence reports of their movement and we are blocking them, and you will see the results, the end result, Ifeanyi stated. How can you have all of these deployments to these areas and you still have these attacks happen? How large is Benue State, in fact? How large is Benue State? Countries are now using drones, intelligent drones, artificial intelligence, to go to places that they cannot get to get them information that they cannot get to. You don't need to fly a plane over any area to get your information. Once you fly your drone, the drones are actually very quiet. They're not as loud as, when you are using helicopter or something. Countries are using, why are we not even using technology to do some of these things? Yes. Why are we not using technology to do some of these things? Because technology will pay us more. It is easy. You can be in your house and tell what's going on somewhere because of but as long as you are able to deploy drones in those areas, the painful part is these people attack today and they disappear. Nobody have a trace of where they have gone to. And they come in numbers. They come in 200s, in 100s, in 50. And so when they come like that, after the attack, they just go. They disappear into thin air. Nobody tends to chase after them or run after them. They just disappear. And you tell me it's not orchestrated, it's not planned, and there are no people who are doing this. There are people, some of them are in government. It's as simple as that. There's no two ways about it. This is just terrible. I'm reading this and I'm paying other countries. In fact, as soon as the attack happens, they're already getting the alarm, and then as soon as that happened, in less than 24 hours, they'll tell you this is where the attack happened. The number of people who attacked, the persons that have been caught. How do they do it? Is it by carrying police people and sending there? It's technology. When are we going to deploy technology in our security apparatus? When? When are we going to deploy technology? At what point would we be serious with our lives? 100 killed, 50 killed, 800 killed in one country. And everybody's moving like nothing has happened. Does it make sense to anybody? How much how much is the purchase of drones or deploying of technology in our system? How much is it? How much is it? Can't we afford? And this thing called deploy, you deploy people, different local government. Okay, so if you deploy people to Benue and this same thing happens in Plateau, another one happens in another state, you start deploying people. You start deploying people from one place to another. When you can use technology to trim this thing. I'm seeing some messages. It says this is all from external forces. The external forces how? What do you mean by this is all from external forces? External forces how? External forces. Should we talk about external forces? External forces, Nigerian troops have traveled to different countries in Africa to fight insurgency, to fight insecurity in those areas. They come victorious. There is no war that Nigeria has never engaged in on the African continent and they have lost. What do you mean by external forces? Is there any force on the African continent that is much more than the Nigerian military? Go and check. Is there any force? When external forces from where? If there are external forces, they came through a border, right? Who is manning those borders? Who is giving them weapons? And why are we not matching them people to people, weapon for weapon? Why? So the other updates regarding this Benue killing. Hundreds of youths in Benue State yesterday blocked major roads to protest the continuous attacks, killings, and displacement of people in the state by armed headers. Recall that rampaging headsmen killed no fewer than 200 men, women, children, and internally displaced persons in Gelawata, Gunma local government area of Benue State on Saturday. This came as President Bola Tinubu ordered security chiefs to fish out perpetrators of the bloodletting in Benue State, describing the killings as inhuman and anti-progress. The angry youths, in their thousands, took over the popular Urukum roundabout in Makurdi and called on the federal government to live up to its responsibility, which is to protect all the citizens. The youths urged security agencies to redouble their efforts to ensure that all displaced people return to their ancestral homes and continue with their normal lives as they rebuffed attempt by the State Deputy Governor, Dr. Sam Ode, to address them. It took the intervention of Martins Ose, popularly known as Very Dark Man, who prevailed on the angry Benue youths to end their protest over the massacre in the state after they took over the popular Urukum roundabout yesterday. Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State has condemned the latest attack, saying that nothing should warrant the taking of lives. This came as the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Emenari Ifeanyi, said that the Inspector General of Police, IGP, Mr. Kayode Wetokun, has taken over security of the state. Meantime, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, has blamed the killing on the failure of government, describing the sordid affair as a stain on Nigeria's collective conscience. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, in his reaction, urged all Nigerians, regardless of tribe or religion, to unite in condemning the atrocity, noting that we must hold our leaders accountable and insist on sustainable solutions to the violent tragedies claiming lives across the country. Also, Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, has raised the alarm over the continuous killings in Benue State, warning that the unchecked violence could ignite ethnic conflict across the country. It also called for the sack of the security chiefs for failing to carry out their duty to the people of the states. The Catholic Pontiff, Pope Leo XVI, has led prayers for victims of the massacre in Benue State. Meanwhile, there is tension in Kadarko and other Tiv communities bordering the Benue communities where the headsmen allegedly killed no fewer than 200 people in Yeluwata, Guma Council, Benue State. President Tinubu, in a statement by his spokesperson, Mr. Bayo Nanuga, said, quote, "The latest news of wanton killings in Benue State is very depressing. We must not allow this bloodletting to continue unabated. Enough is enough. Is now enough. I have directed the security agencies to act decisively and arrest perpetrators of these evil acts on all sides of the conflict and prosecute them. Political and community leaders in Benue State must act responsibly and avoid inflammatory utterances that could further increase tensions and killings. Avoid making utterances. Avoid making utterances that would further increase tension. Somebody is being killed. His family members, they are being slaughtered, butchered every single day. They should not talk. They should say, "Oh, let's have peace." Like, I don't get it that political leaders and community leaders should not make inflammatory utterances that could further increase the tensions and killings. Is it possible that the government knows something that we don't know? Do they think that this particular matter is a communal clash? Is that what this is about? This is a time for Governor Leah to act as a statesman. This is actually still from the presidency. This is a time for Governor Leah to act as a statesman and immediately lead the process of dialogue and reconciliation that will bring peace to Benue. Our people must live in peace, and it is possible when leaders across the divides work together in harmony and differences and identified and addressed with fairness, openness, and justice. So they practically are blaming the governor for not even acting. They are practically blaming the governor for not, acting. Benue youths protest massacre, block highways in Makurdi. The thousands of protesters who stormed the roundabout as early as 7 a.m., singing solidarity songs as they marched round the popular roundabout near the Makurdi Bridge, resisted all pleas by the Benue State Police Commissioner Ifeanyi Benari and the Deputy Governor Ode to vacate the roundabout as commuters remained stranded. Even the low-flying helicopters that came hovering around the area did not deter the protesters, who stood their ground as they moved around with 3 branches and placards with inscriptions like "Stop Benue Killings," "Government has failed us, we will not surrender to Fulani," among others. One of the leaders of the youth and social media influencer, implementer, that embarked on the protest because the attacks and killings in the state were getting out of hand and that the government was not doing enough to end it, he says. These attacks have been going on for years and no one is safe anymore. And Yellowwater is not far from Makurdi. People are killed every day. In Benue and in the world is not aware. We have had enough. That is why we came out to let the world know. Speaking to newsmen, Brahms Ikwan said, quote, "We cried, sent messages and open letters, but nobody listened to us. Nobody came to our aid. At this moment, we are not sure if there will be any place called Benue tomorrow." Despite the attacks and killings in Yellowwater yesterday, up to now, no word from the government or any prominent person. They have abandoned us. We want the world to know that Benue is being wiped out on the face of the earth and nobody cares about what is happening, he says. Also, Mr. Gideon Iyom accused the government of giving the headers unfettered access into Benue communities by relaxing the state's anti-open grazing law. He said all they wanted was security of lives and property, adding that such was the primary responsibility of every government worldwide. The youth shortly after brought out cooking utensils and 2 bags of rice to prepare their meal when the Deputy Governor Sam Ode drove in to address them. They refused to listen to him, asking him to leave the scene, demanding for the governor to come and address them. But in the midst of the confusion, the deputy governor drove off and some policemen fired tear gas canisters to disperse the huge crowd. In the ensuing stampede, the angry youths remained defiant. They took over the new Otukpo Road, making bonfire on segments of the roads stretching to the Abu King Shulua Road junction. The standoff lasted about 5 hours. When very dark man drove from the Konshisha street axis of the town to meet up with them, as they had also barricaded all the link roads and singing war songs. His emergence triggered heavy jubilation among the protesters, who surged forward to catch a glimpse of him. Addressing the angry youth who listened attentively by the UBA junction, he appealed to them to open up the barricaded roads to allow for free flow of traffic and also put out the bonfire made on major roads. He pointed out that the era of embarking on violent protest was over, saying, before coming here, I saw very disturbing things I have never seen in my life. I saw children burned to ashes, a lot of children, a lot of people, crops, people's food were burnt in yellow water, and we have a government. This state has suffered this since I was a boy. I have been hearing about Benue Killings since I was a child, herdsmen and Benue people. Till tomorrow, the government has not been able to do anything. This insecurity has left a lot of youth jobless because when a state is insecure, no one would come and invest there. The youth will be frustrated and some will take to crime. So the government urgently needs to do something about it. Admonishing the crowd, he says, if we are protesting, we must use our brains. How do we do that? The only reason the police will shoot tear gas is when you use the wrong pattern. The pattern of blocking the roads will not yield a desired result. If you continue to make bonfire, it will only give the police reasons to use tear gas. Think about it. But if you do it freely and walk, you do the Jericho walk without fighting anyone, just the normal walk, even around government house, and see if they would not act. So let's use civility for the government to act. We must know that by blocking the roads, we are restricting other people. That being said, we must do to protect, but let's be civil. The era of burning things is over. This is 2025. We have our phones and we can communicate with each other. We are bigger than this. The protesters immediately agreed with him and started opening up the roads, and they also led VDM to Wurukum roundabout amid shooting of tear gas canisters by the police, where he also appealed to the youths to disperse. He urged them to properly organize a protest on a scheduled date with the police permission, who would also come out to provide security cover for the protest to be successful without violence. At that point, the protesters agreed to disperse as they sang solidarity songs and also hailed him for showing up in the state and the rally venue despite the tension in the community. Governor Alia, who was represented by his deputy Ode, on a visit to the scene of the heinous act earlier yesterday said, quote, Governor Alia acknowledges and shares in your pains and grief caused by the attacks on your community by criminal elements suspected to be armed headsmen. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Alia said that the state government was consistently engaging with federal security agencies, traditional rulers, community leaders, and relevant stakeholders to strengthen security interventions and provide lasting solutions to these persistent attacks. The state's joint operations units are also being strengthened, and the government will not relent in its utmost commitment to defending the lives and properties of all residents. In the spirit of peace and unity, we call on religious, traditional, and political leaders across the state to sensitize and guide the youths under their influence against unlawful gatherings or confrontations that may spiral out of control, the governor added. However, the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Emenari Fine, told newsmen at the scene that the IGP Ewetokun has taken over the security of the state. Ifeanyi said that the IGP has already deployed special forces to the state to end the attacks and killings. The CP said that what you saw happening in Yellowater yesterday is because we have taken over the Upper Gwe West and are moving seriously in Agatu. They just want to do something to show that they are in control. Peter Obi has reacted. He says, quote, my heart is heavy as I learn of yet another horrific series of killings in Benue of women, children, soldiers, and displaced persons, all senselessly slain. This tragedy has become too common in our national life, and Benue's situation now calls for a national emergency. Over 200 lives have reportedly been extinguished in a single onslaught. Homes burnt, families shattered, and communities left in ruin. This is not merely violence, it is a failure of leadership, a stain in our collective conscience. Every life lost is a Nigerian life, each one precious, each one irreplaceable. We cannot accept the normalization of mass killing. It is intolerable. The primary duty of any government, federal, state, or local, is to protect lives and property. When it repeatedly falls, we must ask, what kind of nation are we bequeathing to our children? To the people of Benue, I say to you, your pain is our pain. The blood of your loved ones cries out for justice. The survival of our people must not be negotiable. It must be urgent, deliberate, and comprehensive action must be taken. To all relevant authorities, I say that the time has come to move beyond symbolic gestures to decisive deployments. Let your actions speak louder than visits of all statements. The time has come for the government to prove their commitment to protecting citizens, which is the primary duty of any government. A safe, secure Benue is not too much to ask. It is our moral duty, our national duty. This is not the Nigeria we deserve, nor the Nigeria we aspire to. We must end this bloodshed. We must reclaim our community, our humanity. This is the message from Peter Obi, the presidential candidate, former of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections. Let's go to what Atiku has been saying. Atiku also on his X handle says, I'm deeply anguished and shocked by the devastating news of the fresh attacks in Benue State, where over 100 innocent lives are feared lost. These killings, once again targeting defenseless communities, underscores the escalating insecurity crisis facing our nation. Words cannot adequately express the sorrow felt by those left widowed, orphans, or displaced. My thoughts and prayers are with the families and communities who have suffered unimaginable loss. As a nation, we must pause and reflect on the mounting human toll of this senseless violence. I urge the federal and Benue State authorities to launch a prompt, transparent investigation into the attack. The identities of the perpetrators must be swiftly uncovered and justice served. Enhance security presence in the region, deploying necessary resources, personnel, equipment, and intelligence to guarantee the protection of vulnerable rural areas. Engage affected communities through dialogue, traditional leadership, and civil society to restore confidence and foster resilience. Accelerate compensation and support efforts, including medical aid, trauma counseling, and livelihood restoration for survivors and bereaved families. This assault on innocent Nigerians is not just a local tragedy, it is a national emergency that demands immediate attention and decisive action. I call on all Nigerians, regardless of tribe or religion, to unite in condemning the atrocity. We must hold our leaders accountable and insist on sustainable solutions to the violent tragedies claiming lives across the country. We had other reactions. Huriwa, in a statement from the national coordinator, Emmanuel Onwubiko, said, The president is playing with fire by retaining incompetent security chiefs and the national security advisor despite their failure to prevent mass killings. The service chiefs and the NSA remain ensconced in Abuja, leaving rural communities to suffer repeated tragedies. It is heartbreaking that families, including women and toddlers, were slaughtered and burnt alive in their homes and makeshift shelters. How painful this is that these are people who were displaced from where they were. You know how bad it is? You get displaced from where you were and you come to a place that you have no ancestral leaning to. And so these guys leave after displacing you, they come to where you are and still kill you. Like Pope Leo prays for the victims of Benue massacre. Pope Leo, in a statement on X of the Vatican News entitled Pope Leo prays for the victims of terrible massacre in Benue State, Nigeria. Around 200 people were brutally killed in Yellowater in Guma local government area of the 9th of June, the 13th and 14th, the Pope said, adding that most of the victims were internally displaced persons sheltered by the local Catholic mission. Speaking just before delivering the Sunday Angelus prayer, the Pope prayed for security, justice, and peace in Nigeria, adding that he was thinking in particular of the rural Christian communities of the Benue state who have been relentless victims of violence. Also responding to the attack, Amnesty International Nigeria on Saturday called on Nigerian authorities to immediately end the almost daily bloodshed in Benue state and bring the actual perpetrators to justice. And to some other reaction, Tiv residents in Kadako and other communities in Nasarawa states bordering Yelwata have deserted their homes for fear of escalating attacks. Some Tiv farmers who spoke to newsmen said that the sound of gun overnight of the attack on Yelwata was like a war sound that set most neighboring communities to flee their homes. It is actually really sad, ladies and gentlemen, with what is going on in Benue State. All right, even though we have seen that the president has, giving a marching order to the to security chiefs. Well, he has done that before. So to what extent would that really work? To what extent will that really work? All right. Let's see. I've been seeing some messages. Just in case you want to say a thing or two, you can drop me a comment. I'd love to read it, and then if I can, and then I will respond. Johnson Barton says, we woke up this morning, have the best day you can have tomorrow, not promised to no one. Thank you, brother, one love. Mr. Johnson Barton, or Mr. John Barton, many thanks. Yahey says, Hutu and Tutsi, current Burkina Faso, current DRC, Ethiopia. Okay, maybe he has been writing from the top. Let's see. Okay, let's start this from here. Our colonial masters are perfect at playing these games. Bro, this response of yours already tells me you haven't done your homework. Please dig and research better so as to stop spreading anger and incitements. Once you wake up, you will see clearly. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. And then he goes to say Hutu and Tutsi, current Burkina Faso. Your people, these are the kinds of things that we put out. Sometimes we are also the problem. Like the followers are also the problem. So there's a breach of security in Benue State. All right. there's a breach of security in Benue State. And instead of us to be calling out the government to hold them accountable to what's going on, we are trying to compare it with another country. After all, it's happening in Libya. After all, it's happening in Burkina Faso. After all, it's happening in Ivory Coast. After all, it's happening. Are we okay? Is something wrong with us? So we are comparing the killings in Benue State in Nigeria with what is happening in Burkina Faso, or are you comparing Nigeria and Burkina Faso? What's the land size of Burkina Faso? What's the land mass of Ivory Coast compared to Nigeria? Even compared to wealth, even with even with security, what is it like? I don't even understand this thing. You said that I said things that would divide us rather than bring us together. So it is good we keep quiet, because speaking about it would mean that, we are being divided. Kind of, I don't even understand this mindset. What's this mindset? Yeah, hey, please, I don't mind engaging you one-on-one on this platform. I don't mind engaging you. I need because it seems your thought is not well conjugated. Your thoughts are not it's not aligned properly, because I don't understand. Our colonial masters are perfect in playing these games. Response of mine it means I have not done my homework. I don't understand what is happening. Please, I don't want to do any homework. I just want the killings to stop. I don't intend to do homework. Scared to call out the government. You are scared to call out the government because what is wrong with calling out the government of the day and saying that they have failed in their duty to do the needful? What is wrong with that? Well, I think this is 48 after. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you, because I just wanted to put this out there. I'm saddened by what's going on in Benue. I am pained by what's going on in Benue. All I want for Benue is for peace to reign. Beyond peace being reigning, I also want that those who have failed in their duty should be brought to justice. And I also think that the insecurity that has continued in Benue State is sponsored. Somebody is gaining from it. There's no two ways about it. When there is insecurity in your community, somebody did it. Somebody is sponsoring it. Somebody did it. So I'm not going to come and start sugarcoating. Look, there is also an element of politics that is being played in Benue State. If not, how is it that River State that doesn't have anything about insecurity, Rivers is under state of emergency? Why do we have state of emergency in River State? Why don't we have state of emergency in Benue, where hundreds of people, if we were to count the people who have died in Benue State, for crying out loud, we're talking about 1,000. And we are talking and we're comparing our country and their country. What was that? Anyways, I actually wanted to do those 30 minutes for this, but I have seen that I've overshot the time. But I really appreciate you guys for being part of it. In due time, in fact, I'm going to be opening phone line. I'm going to be using phone calls. All right. You can call in and speak your mind about the developments happening. All right. I'll drop a number while we are on this, because it's not going to be just this issue. There'll be other issues that would crop up that we would talk about. All right. That will be much later. But I want to appreciate every one of you for being part of this broadcast. Like some of you have seen, something has just happened to my power. Nigeria, my country, that's where we live, but it's fine. I appreciate every one of you for being part of the broadcast. Hey, I'll get to you shortly, all right? So thank you. I'll see you guys on the next one.